Welcome to the Tech M&A podcast. Presented by the Corum Group. Welcome to the Tech M&A podcast. Here we dive into the strategies, challenges, and candid stories of tech entrepreneurs who have successfully sold their companies. Today, I'm joined by CEO Luc Pettett, who engaged Corum to sell his digital horse racing publishing company, Punters, in 2017. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me today, Luc.
It's a pleasure.
Can you introduce yourself, give us your background, and tell us a bit about your journey with Punters?
Yeah, so my name is Luc Pettett. I've founded a business called Punters. We sold that business through Corum in 2018, which was acquired by NewsCorp Australia. Background, I'm a software engineer turned founder. I started off working for a bunch of different software companies, from small software company locally in Brisbane, Australia, to working in the UK for a project with Microsoft, and founded Punters about 9 years before my exit. So built that business up from scratch with a very small team, handed the business over to NewsCorp in 2018. So during that process, working for them, we built out like a management team and appointed a new CEO and scaled the business up. So post exit from Punters, decided to take some time off and travel. Was probably the best 6 months of my life, I think, spending quality time with my kids and traveling the Caribbean and Tahiti and so on. But while I was traveling, I also spent a lot of time learning and sort of thinking about what I want to do next. But I did get some good advice, and that was like, don't hurry, take your time, like be patient. Too many founders kind of rush into the next thing, thinking that they have that expectation on themselves. So that 6 months, rather than, looking for a formal study or doing an MBA, I decided to find a professor that I was in a field that I was really interested in, which was AI. So looked around Australia for the top minds in AI research. And this was before the birth of like LLMs more recently. So this is about 4 years ago. And I just fly down and spend a day with this professor on like learning about kind of the fundamentals of AI modeling or predictive modeling. And that was wonderful, just taking my time to experiment. So I guess post exit of Punters, I began working out what I wanted to do. And that was really in the finance space. I think for anyone moving out of their first exit and, coming into a lot of capital, you do need to know how to deploy that capital. And for me, I was like, well, it would be sensible to spend my time in finance so I, better those skills as an investor, but also build a business around that. So began building my first business, which was called Dabble. And Dabble, strangely enough, after about 6 months of operating, building this business, was the assets were acquired by our wagering company due to the name that we had. So it was quite a weird clash of worlds. And I sold that business after about a year. So that, I guess that's not really my second exit, but in a kind of weird way it is. And more recently, I've founded a business called Telescope. So Telescope, and which runs a platform called Potato. Telescope is a B2B platform for financial broker platforms to use AI within their products. So if you're trying to discover stocks and you're interested in investing, the moment people have to browse, the internet and read a Motley Fool article or a Bloomberg article to understand maybe a theme that they're interested in. So my new business, Telescope, allows you to just simply put in a prompt, for example, space tourism or hydrogen vehicles or any theme you want or any concept you want. You could put in the theme, we're at war with China, and it would uses like AI and language models to build and construct an investment portfolio surrounding that theme, but it ultimately uses like second and third order thinking to help construct an investment portfolio. So the idea is it's like a fun, easy way to filter stocks So it's hyper-personalized. So that's my new business. Really excited about that.
Sounds like the integration went quite smoothly. What did you do after wrapping up everything?
Yeah, so we built the platform Potato, which is the consumer product, to test it out and play with it. But our real business will be telescope.co, and that's like an enterprise platform, and we're actually very close to signing on an international broker with about 1 million users. So that'll be our first revenue. So really excited about that.
It must be really exciting to see Potato grow into Telescope so successfully. What advice do you have for exiting CEOs who are trying to figure out their next move is?
Yeah, well, the truth is actually I didn't have a clear picture as to what I wanted to do next. And I did feel, they call it the post-M&A hangover. And I don't, and it's true, you do the business you build, the energy that you channel into the product or service you offer over the course of many years, building your company and exiting that company is a big part of you. And I think it wouldn't be unusual for you to feel uncomfortable even prior to or considering an exit. I've had a good buddy of mine that's gone through an M&A process last year and had a great exit. But prior to that, we spent time at length talking about whether he should or shouldn't exit run a process. And his only concern was not the valuation, not the positioning of the business or the strategy or the timing. All of those things were lined up. It was him. And he was worried about what he would do with himself. And said, you can't worry about what's not known. Your mindset changes. You go through that exit, you're forced to clear the plate, and organize your life a little bit differently. And so I think that's, that kind of, it's almost like your own blue ocean strategy. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what you'll do, whether you'll dive into something. You might want to open a restaurant. Who knows? But, I think it wasn't clear to me. And I just, each day at a time, I think, you can always fill your time with learning and that's compounding the growth, on your own intellect. And I think that's probably where I focused first, and then things started to connect. So I don't have necessarily great advice as to what you should do post exit or whether you should exit because you're worried or not worried about what's on the other side, but you really don't know what you don't know. So you just got to have faith. And I think the capital gives you a lot of opportunity to pursue many interests, and that can be education or found a new business immediately. There's plenty of time.
What is your vision for your future? Is your mindset for Telescope different than it was for Punters?
It's different. I think after going through your first exit, I've got 3 young kids and a wife, and I think the mindset's different on a second venture. I think I do have a lot more patience. I want to build a good business. I want to build a great intellectual team and solve some hard problems. That's what probably matters more so to me. In my first venture, it was I want to receive a lot of cash. I want to set myself up for the rest of my life to, secure the stability around my family and my home life. I've achieved that. So I think it's a different feeling. I have the patience to build a good business, to have the work-life balance, to focus on myself. So I think that's it. And with what we're doing with Telescope, it's a really interesting problem to solve. I think finance is going to be massively disrupted by large language models. And I think that we can't deny that the intelligence around AI is going to outgrow the intelligence of all humans. And that's undeniable because, it's just compounding knowledge. So I think I would rather focus my time and effort on that space.
Do you have any closing words of wisdom?
I think most people just have this reluctance and reservation around an exit. I had that feeling, but ultimately it's just what really matters is are the facts and is the timing right to exit your business. Are you losing a little bit of energy? Are you starting to feel like you're slowing? Perhaps your motivations are changing, and I think that's probably. They're the signals, not only the macro market and the investment market, and maybe the timing's right on your business cycle. I think probably one, I read a lot of investment books, and one point always strikes home to me, and that's everything fades. And it's a pessimistic way of viewing life, but the biggest businesses, I think just the longest running business is only by just over 100 years, successful company. So I think it's crazy to think that what you have will continue forever. So I think everyone needs to be comfortable with diving in the deep end and going through an M&A process at some point. And I've heard a lot of war stories of people missing that opportunity. And, it'd be very difficult to go through that, to miss the chance to run an exit. So I think you just need to be honest with yourself as to whether the timing's right, and not worry about what's next, because that was my biggest takeaway going through the process was, in hindsight, it's wonderful.
Thank you, Luc.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Tech M&A podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends, colleagues, and fellow entrepreneurs. We release new episodes every 2 weeks, so make sure to subscribe and stay up to date on our latest interviews and tech M&A research. And while you're there, go ahead and drop us a rate and review. And if you have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to cover, please reach out to us on social media or email us at info@corumgroup.com. Join us again next time for more inspirational stories and practical tips from tech founders who have successfully navigated the exits of their companies.